Hello Keybros, I'm SirKeybo and welcome to a bit of a different video. So I was watching one of my favorite YouTubers, Grog Games, and he was doing a video on building a Pokemon team by using one Pokemon from every generation. And that kind of got me thinking on doing a video on my Pokemon teams for every generation. So my ideal Pokemon teams that I've used throughout every generation that I've played. Kind of like how, you go to a restaurant and you want to order something new, but you end up defaulting to what you always get. That, but for Pokemon. Before I get started, I will say that if you guys have not checked out Grog Games, I highly recommend you do. He's a small YouTuber and he's amazing. He's super funny and he does a lot of cool, awesome edits, and I just love the guy. And a lot of what he does inspires me to do cool stuff on my videos. So yeah, he gives me a lot of great ideas, as is proof with this video. So yeah, I highly recommend you go and check him out. Oh, before I get started, I will say that I'm gonna lay myself down a few ground rules. So number one, no legendaries, because they're super overpowered and they're legendary, so, there's a reason for that. And I've never been that into using them in my Pokemon teams just because, they're basically these gods. And if you have a god on your team, what's the worry, honestly? So, no, I feel like they kind of take away something. And every time I watch a Pokemon playthrough when someone's using a legendary, I'm like, I get it, but come on. So, I'm not going to use them. Number two, no reusing. So for whatever team I've used Pokemon on, I cannot reuse those Pokemon on a different team, just to kind of give all the teams their own unique feel and stuff. And number three, I will be trying to be as gen specific as I can. So Pokemon that were introduced in that generation, I will try my best to use those Pokemon. I might veer away a little bit, but for the most part, I'll try and keep true. And also, if there's Pokemon that have been introduced in gen remakes that weren't in the original gens, I'll be counting the new Pokemon that were introduced in the gen remakes as being a part of that generation. So, like, if some Pokemon were given evolutions and stuff like that weren't in the original games, I'll still be counting the evolutions as part of that gen, just to make it a little easier on myself. And sometimes I like some of those evolutions, like Crobat and stuff like that. He was introduced later. But yeah, I'll count them as being part of that gen. Oh, and I almost forgot. I'll have two versions of the teams, one with a starter and one without. The first version will be without a starter, and then I'll throw in whichever starter I would have chosen and who that would have replaced, just as a fun little side thing. Just because you guys might be wondering what starter I choose, and yeah. And so how I'm going to do this is I'm going to choose a bunch of Pokemon from the generation, and then kind of narrow it down to what my ideal team is, and then we'll move on to the next one. So without further ado, with all that out of the way, let's get started. The Kanto is probably going to be, the first three gens are probably going to be really hard because those are the ones I've played the most, and it's going to be rough. Okay, so this is the first batch I already have to narrow down. So I've got Arcanine, Gengar, Alakazam, Raichu, Jolteon, and Snorlax. I've noticed that I like a lot of Pokemon that are traded. Like, because in the old games, it was so hard to trade, not compared to now. So, Pokemon like Gengar and Alakazam and Golem and Machamp were like these white whales that you could never get. So, I love them. Okay, yeah, I think, alright, that's a pretty solid, okay, I need two more. Overall, this looks pretty diverse, but I feel like I need a water Pokemon. I feel like I might have to choose between Dragonite and Snorlax, because they're both tanky. Dragonite can learn a lot of moves. He's adorable as crap. I love Dragonite so much. I've got a plush of him downstairs. Okay, decision made. Oh man, that was hard. I ended up keeping Snorlax because Dragonite's 4 times weak to ice. So whereas Snorlax does not have that weakness. I took him out and I put in Lapras, water ice. Very cool. Yeah, okay, so this is my Gen 1 team. We got Arcanine, Gengar, Jolteon, Snorlax, Scizor, and Lapras. So now, yeah, as I said, I can't reuse these guys. And for those of you who are wondering what starter I would have chosen, it's Charizard. Alright, so now let's move on to Gen 2. Okay, starting off here. These were the first picks. Obviously, I'm keeping Gyarados because, in Gen 2, he's shiny. So, like, why wouldn't you keep a shiny Gyarados? Houndoom, I think, is one of the only fire types that I really liked. They didn't add too many Pokemon in Gen 2, because Gen 2, Johto is the same island as Kanto. They're just kind of separated. So they share a lot of the same Pokemon, and therefore there's not a lot of Pokemon that were added. to Generation 2. Hence, there will be some Gen 1 Pokemon in here as well, as is evident with Nidoking. Now, the real question is, do I want Nidoking or Tyranitar? Even though Tyranitar is technically is Gen 2, but he's 4 times weak to fighting, that's what it is. That's not great. Yeah, alright, sorry Tyranitar, I love you, but I'll get rid of Victory Bell. This is actually a little more fresh in my mind because I'm currently playing through Gen 2. So this is a little easier for me. I'm pretty much modeling my current team, but I'm choosing all the ones I like because honorable mentions, because there's a lot I like in this gen. Got some more. Crobat, they're both poison, so like it would lead me for diversity's sakes to go towards Noctowl, but Crobat's a beast. Yeah, even though it gives me 2 poison types, which I'm not a huge fan of. I think that's a good choice. So now we got Heracross and Hitmonlee. God, I really like Hitmonlee. He's such a cool Pokemon, and like I never get to use him in any games because he's just a rarity. I think we're gonna go with Hitmonlee. Okay, that leaves me with 1 space. Ampharos. That's the last one. Kind of obvious when I think about it. Ampharos is dope. Yeah, so we got Gyarados, Houndoom, Nidoking, Crobat, Hitmonlee, and Ampharos. There's a lot of other Pokemon that I didn't put in here that were kind of honorable mentions. There's Steelix. I super love Steelix. And there's the new evolutions that came in this gen, Espeon and Umbreon. I love them both so much too. But yeah, they wouldn't have made it into the final team. So yeah, Gyarados, Houndoom, Nidoking, Crobat, Hitmonlee, Ampharos. Gen 2. And my starter for this gen would be Typhlosion. 2 fire types, but I really like the fire types in the first 2 gens. Alright, on to Gen 3. This is going to be hard. Okay, first set of Pokemon that I gotta whittle down. You got Exploud, Aggron, Gardevoir, Absol, Milotic, and Tentacruel. I do like Milotic, it's very majestic and beautiful. But it is also just a plain water type, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but might have to, I know in Gen 3 was actually the first Pokemon game I ever beat. Pokemon Emerald. I played that a lot. And I think on most of my teams I had Tentacruel. I didn't really use Milotic at all. So, yeah. Tentacruel. Absol or Gardevoir. Psychic, Fairy, or Dark. I really do like Gardevoir, but I think I'm gonna have to give it to Absol. I really like Absol. We'll keep Exploud and Aggron for now. Let's keep on searching. Okay, alright, so now I've added Swellow and Salamence, normal flying or dragon flying. I would know for a lot of my playthroughs I had Swellow on my team, but if I can get Salamence, I would. Yeah, Salamence is a pretty good choice. Now, do I want Aggron or Metagross? That's kind of the big question. I've got Absol, who I know can learn like Psycho Cut, I believe, or something similar. Night Slash. Unless I get rid of Absol. Well, no, because then I would keep... No, yeah. We'll keep Aggron and Absol. Torkoal. Torkoal's pretty beast. But I think who I would rather is Camerupt. I think that's a good choice. Got rid of Exploud and put in Gallade. I know I got rid of Metagross because he was a psychic and I have Absol, but he's also a fighting type, which covers some ground that Metagross couldn't really. And he can also learn a whack ton of moves that gives some more diversity. Like he can learn Leaf Blade, so that gives grass. I just love him. I love how Gallade is. He's super dope. So yeah, this would be my Gen 3 team, which is Aggron, Absol, Tentacruel, Salamence, Camerupt, and Gallade. And the Pokemon that I would switch out would be Gallade for Sceptile. Yeah, I know, grass starter. First time I went against doing a fire starter. Alright, so on to Gen 4. Alright, first batch to whittle down. Honestly, this team already has a lot of coverage. Staraptor, Luxray, Floatzel, Vespiquen, Lucario, and a Bombasnow. I think I might have to choose, because Vespiquen's bug flying, and I've already got Staraptor, who's normal flying. And then Bug and Grass are fairly similar in terms of weaknesses and stuff like that. Of course, a Bombasnow has 4 times weak to fire, which isn't great. I think what I'm gonna have to do, yeah. Vesper Queen's also super hard to get because you gotta find a combi that doesn't have a dick. So like, don't have that time. Frost Lass is Ice Ghost. It's really cool. But I've already got Abomasnow, who's Grass Ice. So that's kind of conflicting. Granted, like I've had my Gen 2 team had 2 poison types, so that's not... I might go with Dustnor. Just a plain Ghost, so he doesn't have that conflicting weakness that I would with Frostlass and Abomasnow. This is looking pretty good so far. Although I generally like to have a fire type. Oh, this is a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was actually going to be plain, pretty clear cut, but it's honestly a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. There's even Pokemon that I haven't put on the list that I really like and I'm almost considering choosing. There's Bronzong, who I really love, Electivire, and there's Garchomp. There's a lot in this gen actually that I didn't think would be a hard choice, but it is. Screw it. We'll say this is good. God, this is a really hard... I didn't think it was going to be this hard. I thought it was going to get easier after Gen 3, but evidently not. So yeah, this would be my Gen 4 team, and the starter that I would choose for this gen would be Empoleon. Empoleon's... Whoo! I love Empoleon. Super dope. On to Gen 5. Ha! Just kidding, I didn't play Gen 5. No offense to any of you Gen 5 lovers out there. I personally didn't care for it too much, so I never really played it much. My brother played it. Watched him a bit. Wasn't my gen. So Gen 6. Gen 6 I genuinely love. So we got the 2 fossil Pokemon. I love both a lot. And we got Talonflame, Pyroar, Go-Goat, and Aegislash. So the only ones really conflicting are the 2 fossils and then the 2 fires. And I think it's kind of an easy choice. Pyroar's cool. Like, I love lions, but Talonflame is just a beast. And then between these 2, I feel like a lot of people went for Tyrantrum, and I actually really like Aurorus Rock Ice, but it's 4 times weak to fighting, which is really rough. For that reason, I might have to go with Tyrantrum. So now we got Goodra and Tyrantrum. And even though Goodra's just plain dragon, whereas Tyrantrum is rock dragon, I feel like I like Goodra more. I don't know what it is about it. It's lovable. It's very lovable. Yeah, I don't think I could hug Tyrantrum. I mean, I could, but I don't think it would end well. So yeah, we're gonna go with Goodra. Do I want Pangoro, or do I want Lucario? There's also Noivern, who's really cool. A flying dragon type. But I've got Talonflame already, who's a flying type as well. So yeah, no to Noivern. Gourgeist, Ghost Grass, but I've got Aegislash. Aegislash is a Steel Ghost. If you know me in Steels. Can't go with Gourgeist. Trevenant, same deal, but honorable mention, I do like Trevenant a lot. I think I am going to have to stick with Pangoro over Lucario. Even though Lucario can Mega Evolve, very cool. I used Pangoro in my playthrough of Pokemon X, and I liked him a lot. And he was, made for this gen, so I feel that he fits more with the theme as well. So yeah, I think this might be the team. I know I don't have a water type, but honestly, I wasn't too big a fan of much of the water types. Honestly, like the water types that were in these games that were good were from previous generations. So there's not really a water type from this gen that I'm a huge fan of. That being said, the starter I would choose would be Greninja. I love Greninja. He's really cool. And I guess you can also get the other starters in this, can't you? But I mean, obviously, I don't think that's much of a surprise who I would pick. I would choose Charizard and just switch out Talonflame. I mean, they're the same type as well, so like, there's not really any team damage there. So that's pretty easy. But yeah, all right. So that is Gen 6. So now Gen 7 and the last gen until Gen 8 comes out in a little bit. All right, here's the first batch. So there's actually quite a bit of confliction here, which makes it easier to whittle down, I guess. So we got Mudsdale, Lycanroc, and a Alolan Golem, who kind of all rock and ground are pretty interchangeable with me. So yeah, that's what we have to. And Alolan Golem is also electric, and I got Vikavolt here. And I think I really like Vikavolt. I really do. So Alolan Golem, that's an easy. And then it's between Mudsdale and Lycanroc. And I think I ended up using Mudsdale. I do, like, I'm a huge dog guy, and so if you've noticed, I like Pokemon and stuff that are dogs or look similar in some kind of way. So, but I just didn't end up using Lycanroc for whatever reason. I don't know. I ended up using Mudsdale much more, so I'll go with Mudsdale. And then we got Salazzle and Turtonator. Turtonator's a fire dragon, and Salazzle is a poison fire. So that's really hard. I think I did have a Turtonator, and I named him Bowser, which I was very happy with. I can't remember what I named my Salazzle, though. I can't remember what I nicknamed her. Although, I do have a funny story about me and my Salazzle, because I caught a Salandit, and then I got onto like a level 34 or something, and I was like, wasn't he supposed to evolve like 2 levels ago? Sure enough, I check. Boy's got a dick. And so I cannot get a Salazzle, so I had to go back to the place where Salandits are and grind for a female, which took a little bit, and then I finally got one, and then I had to train it up to the level that I got my male one. It was a bit of a pain, but honestly it was worth it because I really like Salazzle. And for that reason, I think I'm going to choose her. Because she can also poison other poison types. Like, holy crap. She's so dope. Okay, so yeah, I think these 3 are pretty set for the team. Let's see who else we can find. Okay, so we got Toucannon, Alolan Ninetales, and Alolan Raichu. I never really used Alolan Raichu. He's an honorable mention because, I mean, Raichu, it's cool. And I mean, the Psychic typing is pretty cool. But I like Vikavolt so much better, so just kind of thrown in there as an honorable mention more than anything. Yeah, I didn't use Araquanid much. My issue with Gen 7 was that I ended up using a lot of Pokemon from previous gens. Like, my water type was Ash Greninja because I did the demo. And I ended up using Snorlax because of his cool Xenium thing. Both of whom I've used in previous teams. So I can't use them in this, and that's kind of dug me in a hole a little. I refuse to use Alolan Executor because that's just a slap in the face calling him a dragon. Drampa, who is a normal dragon type. And I just love the look of him. He's one of the chillest dragons. He's kind of like Goodra in that respect, I guess. Goodra's kind of the same. I didn't use Toucannon much, actually. Like, I wasn't too... Yeah, I think I'll get rid of Toucannon. Okay, so Dhelmise, Ghost Grass. That gives me some more type coverage. And then we got Drampa, Alolan Ninetales, Vikavolt. I did use Alolan Ninetales, and I love how beautiful it is. It's just one of the most majestic things ever. If I remember correctly, it might just because I had trouble grinding it, so I think it was a bit weaker than the rest of my team, but I just remember having some difficulty with it. At least for me. Maybe it was just because it was a fair bit weaker. I think it might have been like 10 levels under the rest by the time I got to like the Elite Four. Like, everything else was in the high 50s and it was in the high 40s. I don't think I can get around that really. That's just kind of how I feel. So I might get rid of Alolan Ninetales and maybe bring back Araquanid. So yeah, I think this might be the team for Gen 7. So we got Salazzle, Mudsdale, Vikavolt, Drampa, Dhelmise, and Araquanid. Yeah, I think that's pretty good. I think that's a pretty good team. And the starter I used was Decidueye, Grass Ghost. Very similar typing to Dhelmise, which is kind of why I chose it. Yeah. So these have been my teams across all of Pokemon. A lot of the time, like I said, I try and change it up, but I just end up going back to what I'm comfortable with. Because those are the ones I've learned to rely on, and I know what they can do. So yeah, let's count it back. So, we got Gen 1 with all these lovely boys: Arcanine, Gengar, Lapras, Jolteon, Snorlax, Scizor. And we got Gen 2, Nidoking, Hitmonlee, Gyarados, Crobat, Ampharos, Houndoom. Funny note about this, in my current playthrough of Gen 2 in Heart Gold, I've actually named them all after characters in Zelda. So Nidoking is Ganon, and I got Gyarados, who's Lanayru, and my Ampharos is... what the heck is the other one? Ferror. My Typhlosion's name is Din. I have my Victory Bell that I had, his name was Korok. And then we got Gen 3, Tentacruel, Aggron, Camerupt, Absol, Salamence, Gallade. Gen 4, Staraptor, Luxray, Floatzel, Abomasnow, Magnetar, and Dusknoir. I will say I liked in Gen 4 how they added some evolutions to Pokemon that needed them. I think that was a really nice touch, like giving Magmar, Magnetar, Dusclops, Dusknoir, Although I will say I didn't like all of them. Like, I didn't like Magnezone. I think it really doesn't go with his design at all. It's just a very drastic change. Same with Rhyperior. I love Rhydon so much. Rhyperior just doesn't follow that trend. I don't use him. If I can, I keep it as Rhydon. Gen 6, Talonflame, Go-Go, Pangoro, Aegislash, Sylveon, and Goodra. One of the reasons I love Gen 6 so much is just because of all the like things they added with like character customization, because that was the first game that I felt that I was really the trainer, because I gave myself like a blue button-up shirt, light blue, which I have, and it's like has the sleeves rolled up, which I do, and I had like a toque and glasses. It was aggressively me, and it was great. I really liked it. And like how you can, you know, care for your Pokemon and play with them. I love that they added that. It was such a nice touch. And because in the previous games, they're always like, yeah, it's because you love your Pokemon. And I'm like, I don't really do anything different from the other guy, though. I mean, you don't know that. And Gen 7, Vikavolt, Mudsdale, Araquanid, Salazzle, Droppa, and Dhelmise. There was some stuff that I didn't like about Gen 7, and there was some stuff that I really did. Like, I love that they got rid of, you know, having HM slaves, because, yeah, that's just pointless. Just wasting a whole slot on your team for using an HM slave. It's such a waste, and it's a waste for the Pokemon, too. So, I like that they added those Pokemon and they just do it for you, and all you just had to do was unlock them. That works so much better. I liked that the Elite Four was just starting up, and that you actually have to defend your title. That's a huge thing. I love that, because it was always kind of bothering me that, you know, you leave for 5 minutes in any other Elite Four, and they're like, oh yeah, you're not the champion anymore. I could talk about Pokemon for hours, honestly, because it's just such an awesome series. And I'm very excited for Gen 8, because it is Britain, which is where I'm from. That is my home, and I'm very excited to see what they do with that. I feel like this would be a good gen for a lot of Steel and Dragon types, which are my two favorite types. I feel like it would fit, and I'm really excited. They've got a Steel Dragon, so already I'm like, ah! And I'm very happy with what they've already released with it, and I'm very excited. If you guys want to see more videos like this, just kind of more me doing stuff like this with like talking and just a kind of topic, let me know. I'd be happy to do more. And I feel like it's cool to talk to you guys about this, because I'm super nerdy and I just love talking to people about this kind of stuff. I made a Twitter post about this, but I have my own Pokemon region I made, which is fairly fleshed out. And it's based on Scotland, which is one of the reasons that I'm very excited for the new Gen 8, because it's based on Britain, so pretty similar. So I'm pretty excited about that. So if you guys want to see what I made for my gen, let me know and I can do a video on it. But otherwise, if there's any kind of stuff like this you would want me to see, maybe involving a different game or just a different topic to talk about, yeah, let me know and I'd be happy to do it. But thank you guys so much for watching. Were these the teams that you would use for these respective gens? Would you use different stuff? Let me know down in the comments. I would love to hear what you guys use. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you guys next time. Bye!